One of the most common questions I get is, how much does it cost to maintain a diesel pusher motorhome? Today I'm hanging out with Gary here at Premier RV of Oregon.
Hey guys.
One of the most knowledgeable guys in the industry. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Andrew. How you doing today?
Excellent, thank you. So what is your position here at Premier RV of Oregon?
So I'm one of the co-owners of this company. Louie and I have started this company basically 12 years ago.
And what did you do before owning this company?
I worked for Country Coach from anywhere from started in engineering in 1989 to work my way to an executive vice president when it went bankrupt.
A lot of people out there want to know what it costs to maintain one of these, and you oversee the service department here at Country Coach. I think the folks on YouTube, they want to know what are the most important service things that need to be done on diesel pusher motorhomes, not only Country Coach, but other Class A motorhomes. You guys work on everything here?
Yeah, we work on all brands of Class A's. Anything with a rear diesel, I would consider us, just our knowledge of our people, to be one of your best service centers you can go to.
What do you think are the most important service items for someone thinking about purchasing a motorhome?
So what we recommend on a yearly basis is do an engine chassis service with a chassis inspection. Right behind us here, that's what's going on here with this coach.
Hey, let's walk over there.
We basically, like I said, a lot of people just want to call it an LOF. I don't believe in an LOF on a motorhome.
What does LOF mean?
Lube oil filter. So yes, we are going to change the oil. Yes, we're going to put a filter on, and we're going to lube the motorhome. But one of the most important things you need to do is really what's going on with the motorhome. So in this case, our chassis service tech has been in the industry 30 plus years. He's going to do a full inspection. We're going to lift the coach up here. He's going to check all suspensions, any oil leaks, shocks, brakes, all of that type of stuff, airbags. That's the true importance of what I would call a chassis inspection. We're going to change your oil, we're going to change your fuel filters, we're going to do what the normal shop would do, but we're going to give you a true inspection and then give you a list of here's everything we inspected. Did we find something wrong? Did we not? And then recommend what you should or shouldn't do. So that's one of the things you should do on a yearly basis. The second thing would be the generator service.
Well, real quick, how much does it cost to get a chassis service on this coach?
I'm going to say in general $500 to $600 depending on what engine you have, how much oil you're using. So to do a complete, what we're going to call chassis inspection, oil change, filters, air filter, $500 to $600. So I had the chance as we're standing here, Dave, our service technician's walking up. Like I said, Dave worked for Country Coach, was one of the top chassis service techs in Country Coach days. He's been working for us since the day we've opened, basically, started for us. One of the most knowledgeable people I know on the Country Coach side or even on the chassis side. And Dave, we're kind of just talking about what the difference is between a normal LOF and what we do here. And one of the things I think that adds great benefit to our customers is your knowledge in the inspection that you give on the motorhome. It's just not about dumping the oil and adding the oil. Right. It's truly about, I know in this case, this 2001 Country Coach Magna, you probably have seen hundreds of these, if not thousands of them in your lifetime, and done inspections on those. So can you just kind of explain what you do look for, what you're expecting, that type of stuff?
Yeah, we're looking for specific reoccurring things that fail per model. Like on this particular coach, these were well built. There wasn't too many things that were problematic on them, but they are coming to an age where we're seeing like airbags that are starting to go bad. So we do a lot of airbag replacements. We're checking shocks, making sure the shocks aren't worn out, and then just checking all the suspension fasteners and making sure everything's still tight, everything's still looking good, and looking for rust and any corrosion that should be addressed as well. Just visual things that we can see from a lift that you might not be able to see from the ground.
Yeah, and from your standpoint, is there any maintenance items that you think are the most important maintenance items for anybody out there purchasing a motorhome or considering purchasing a motorhome?
Make sure that they're seeing on the filters are dated, or there's receipts that are showing that the coach is well taken care of. It's just good to have them inspected and make sure that there's nothing from a safety standpoint that should be addressed.
How long did you work at Country Coach before you worked here at Premier RV of Oregon?
9 years.
Nice. A lot of, and how long have you been in the RV industry?
That's when I started, so
nice.
Since 1999.
Over 20 years?
Yep.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thanks for your time, appreciate it. So what all do you recommend for annual service?
So like I said, we just got done talking about the chassis inspection. That's very important. You need to service all your diesel items on your motorhome. So a generator would be another one that you need to done annually. That's typically about a $300 service. Oil filters, fuel filters, that sort of stuff. In this case, most of these rear engine diesel coaches have an Aqua Hot. They may have an Oasis system in them now, whatever the case may be. Those need to be serviced annually. That's a pretty simple service. You're talking $180 to $200 as long as you don't find anything wrong. The other thing we highly recommend here is exterior seals. An exterior seal inspection and spot seal a coach in general is going to be $800. If it hasn't been done for several years, that could be $2,000. But what you don't want are water leaks. Our big service jobs that come in here are D-lams of sidewalls. What could have cost somebody $200 to seal a top molding that they never had done is now going to cost them $10,000 or even $15,000 now to replace a part of the sidewall and repaint it. So we're really big on that. And on country coaches and other models, there's different things that you need to check. Like on a country, the slide room roofs have a urethane seal. Most shops don't know that. You got to remove the awning and check those seals. So if you don't check those seals and you get water, that's where water intrudes your slide room.
Let's walk through the shop here a little bit. So this was Plant 10 when Country Coach was still in business. You've been in this building a long time, huh?
So yeah, this was originally Monaco, then Country Coach bought it in 1996, 1997. And we called it our MAC plant, Magna Affinity plant. And back then it was called Concepts. That's where the C comes from on the Mac plant. But the plant's known for, it was our Magna Affinity plant. When Country Coach went bankrupt, we opened up our business in 2010. And we use this facility here as our sales in the front, service in the back. Actually, we do remodels in another back room over there. So yeah, people are coming here anywhere from, like we just said, an oil change to we just got done doing a $160,000 remodel on a motorhome.
I want to keep going through all the maintenance costs, but I got to ask real quick. I noticed some really cool underlighting on this Country Coach Allure here. That's a Crane Prairie floor plan. What would that just lighting, putting some cool underneath lighting like that cost?
So this case, this customer wanted multiple light functions. So he asked for boogie lights. In this case, we were given 5 different light colors on a remote panel. This would probably run to get it. We put it on both sides of the front and in the rear. We still need to do the rear. We haven't done that yet. That's probably going to run somewhere around $1,500 to $2,000 to get that done. Things do change, but that's about what that's running nowadays.
And that's having the same people that built this coach doing it. It's not a fly-by-night operation. You guys know how to do it the right way and make sure everything's done right.
Well, we've actually developed a special piece of an aluminum trim that goes underneath the light so the light doesn't fall down. We know where the wiring circuits are already at, so we can tie into those same circuits. I'm just not sticking up an LED light and have it fall off in a year. I've developed a special bracket for them. We've done all of that so those lights stay. We do them on the bottom of the slide rooms an awful lot also, which really lights it up, and a lot in the awning. So yeah, LED lights are a daily occurrence around here anymore in today's industry.
Well, getting back to more of the maintenance, those upgrades are always fun, but you've got a beautiful Tiffin Allegro bus getting some service work in here. Now, I know people are always concerned about tires. Tire costs have been going pretty crazy in the last couple years. What does it cost to put tires on one of these expensive motorhomes?
Well, it really depends on brand. Michelin tires are, pretty common in this industry. They're the most expensive in my opinion. For 8 Michelin tires around the motorhome, you're probably looking $9,000 to $10,000. I like Toyos personally. I think they're a good tire for the value. You can put Toyos on a vehicle for probably $3,000 less than that.
Okay.
It's just the difference in price in the tire itself.
And would that be like 365 steers or 315s? Does it matter? Or?
365s are going to be Michelin only. It's the only company that makes that size. 315s, 295s, pretty common for at least these types of RVs. And those tires are fairly close in value. There's really not a lot of price difference. You might be talking $500 to $600 between all 8 of them.
And how often would you recommend changing tires?
So the tire manufacturers are going to tell you need to change tires every 5 years. Michelin's are going to tell you every 7 years. And I'm just going to follow that. Or really checking, if it's before that time and you see checking on the outside of your tire, You need to really look at that closely to make sure you're not going to have a tire blowout. But 5 to 7 years depending on your brand of tire.
So what other maintenance costs are going to come along with owning an expensive motorhome like one of these?
On a yearly scenario, with a motorhome, you're going to have other items come up. Those are going to be your yearly maintenance things that we just talked about. But you'll have other things that come up in the motorhome, or some circuit doesn't work, something like that. And that's very common. Like I said, early on in Country Coach days, we used to go to a testing facility called Nevada Test Center. We actually put sensors in the motorhome, drove it around, and determined by an earthquake, the motorhome was going through a 7.1 earthquake on a daily basis. So think of that as your home. So things will occur. Those things just, I highly recommend when you go in for your annual services, get those other things that are not working in your motorhome fixed at the same time. So over the years, your motorhome is just not falling apart and you're keeping it maintained throughout its course's life.
As we're walking through here, I see a lot of people working. There's a lot of activity here. How many technicians do you have here at Premier RV of Oregon?
We're running 17, 18 techs that are actually here. We have several detailers, like here's one here detailing an engine compartment for a coach that's sold. We have our painters that I'll keep separated from that. They're in our paint shop, and then our sales staff. But 17, 18 techs that are actually on the floor with tech work. We do have one guy in our cabinet shop. We make all our own cabinets here. He started in Country Coach in 88 or 89. He's been building cabinets longer than dirt. He's probably older than some of the trees he cuts, but great guy, makes a great cabinet.
And you've got some of the best in the industry here. Where have all these technicians come from? What are their backgrounds? Where do you find all these guys?
Well, we're really fortunate there. I think that's what sets us aside from almost every other service center out there. Almost everybody here came from Country Coach, came from Monaco maybe. Both those companies were here in the general area. We've been fortunate just to, when we opened this business, you know, we started with 5 techs. They told their friends that, hey, it's a great place to work. Those techs also came over, and then when Winnebago shut down, we took their whole service department and brought them over here. So we're, like I said, the most important thing we have is our employees, and the experience of these people is what makes this company what this company is today.
I'm seeing all kinds of different coaches here. I see a Ford Travel, a nice newer Newmar. What about getting these coaches inspected before a purchase? What advice would you have for someone at how they should get a coach inspected?
Well, there's really 2 ways to go about it. I mean, you know, a lot of people are buying coaches throughout the country, so it's pretty hard to bring a motorhome here and have it inspected before you buy it. If you're someplace that can happen, I highly recommend that. You know, we average probably 70, 75 sales a year. We have a guy that inspects, 2 guys that do, that's nothing but they do is inspect the coaches before we deliver a coach and we fix everything on it. But I mean, we spend 8 hours on the inspection. So anywhere from how a blind pulls up and down to a motorhome, does the TVs work? So we really focus on functionality. We want to make sure, I don't care if it's a Ford Travel, a Country,
that little Renegade over here, Vienna, yeah.
It doesn't really matter to us. We know them all, but we're really going to focus on functionality. It's, you know, you see the scratch on the sidewall. I don't need to tell you it has that. You see a scratch on a cabinet. I'm going to check heating, air conditioning, every switch in the motorhome, everything from a functionality standpoint to make sure that's done. On our normal inspections, we'll come up with 6 to 8 pages of items. Now, it could be something that costs you $20 to fix, could be something that costs you $400 to fix, but we're going to tell you about it. We're going to let you know that this is what we found. And then in our last part of our inspection, as we were just at the chassis, we lift it and do a full chassis inspection and tell you everything that we found or didn't find there in the recommendations. What we've got a lot of lately is people buying coaches, let's say Florida, Texas, wherever, not here. They buy them, drive them straight here, and then we do an inspection, and then we let them know, here's what we believe should be done to get the coach up to speed. In fact, I have 4 of those in my shop right now. That'd be one of them. And we came up with about a $15,000 to $20,000 inspection list, to be really honest with you. But that's what happens when you buy a motorhome from a private party. You don't really know what you're buying. I mean,
when you have no recourse with a private party
yeah,
either.
you have no recourse with a private party.
If someone buys it from you guys have an excellent reputation.
Well,
in
we've
the
already
industry.
done that inspection. So
Yeah.
we've done that inspection. We've already made those fixes. It's all part of the sales deal itself. So, because if it's a consignment coach, the consignee is helping paying for some of that stuff that we find. It'd be a give and take here and there, but that's one of the differences of buying a coach from us, probably versus buying a coach from anybody else in the country on a used side, is that we're going to go through that inspection. That's what's happening here. So in this case, this coaches was sold. We did an inspection on it. These two gentlemen here are working on it. The ladder wasn't attached properly. We thought it was a safety issue, so we're getting that installed properly. In this particular case, the coach needed a hydro hot service, so we're doing a hydro hot service on the motorhome. But that's what these two coaches over here are doing. They got sold, going through inspection, and all the fixes being done. And like I said, that's at our expense or the owner's expense, one or the other, but not to the person buying its expense.
Yeah, I respect that. And I remember the first time I brought my Tiff and Phaeton here to you guys, I gave these guys a long punch list, and actually this is one of the few places that was able to get everything on my punch list knocked out, and there's a lot to be said about that, to have technicians that actually get the work done, because I think a lot of the big box stores, they're coming up with excuses and whatnot. Now, what about parts? I know there's been some part shortages in the industry. Has that affected you guys at all?
The part shortages have affected us just from a time frame. Not that you can't get it. What used to take maybe 2 weeks to get, now may take you 2 months to get. Or like right now, roof airs. Trying to get a roof air is almost impossible. So, you know, you do the best you can there. It's not that they're not available, it's just sometimes you have to wait longer, or sometimes you have to compromise that I'm going to do this instead until these parts are available. But there's nothing that we still can't fix. It just may take a little bit longer than what all of us would like.
Now, what about inverters? Talking about supply shortages, I know inverters have been a little bit of a problem. Are you guys able to help people with that type of work?
So we have been. They were a shortage. The Xantrex inverters are now available. At least we're getting them, so I'm assuming they're available for everybody. And actually in this motorhome right here, we're replacing 2 of them. I'll introduce you to our tech that's doing that. Brian Brecko here. He's what I would call our electronics expert here at our shop. A lot of people can do inverters, but like I said, he really focuses on anything that's working funny, can't figure something out. We typically always end up going to Brian here. So Brian, kind of explain what you're doing on this motorhome?
Well, on this one, it's an old concept here, but the 2 inverters that were in there had completely stopped functioning. There was no charging, no inverting at all. So what we ended up doing is we're actually replacing them with 2 Magnum inverters in this one. They are way tucked up in there. Yeah, we had some Magnums and some Xantrex in stock, but actually due to size limitations, we had to go to the Magnums on this one. So we've got both of them in there so far, but we end up having to replace some of the battery cables because the new Magnums actually require a bigger size of battery cables, so you got to make sure that everything's been switched over for the new requirements of the new inverters as well.
So, you know, that's one of the differences here versus probably someplace else. Brian knows that, hey, this inverter requires a larger battery cable. I hate to say it, but probably most people don't know that. They're just probably hooking the same cable in there that was already there, not knowing any better. That's why it's so important to have people that have been in the industry forever.
Brian, what's your background in the RV industry?
So I started at Country Coach in, I think, about 2004, and worked there until it officially shut down at the very end of 2008. We switched back to the automotive industry for a few years and then came back and started at Country Coach again with Ron Lee and worked through that process and came over here to Premier a couple years ago. And so, I mean, I've got about 15 years total in the RV. Fixing stuff as far as vehicles go, it's about 20 years at this point.
And then cost-wise, doing something like this, about how much still are we looking at cost-wise?
You know, in general, in this case, they're Magnums in a concept, changing the wiring. You're probably going to be $6,500. Obviously, it's going to have new controllers inside. You got to make sure those are programmed to wire properly. So that's I don't know exactly what inverters cost nowadays because everything's going up in value, as we all know. But we're probably somewhere between $6,000 and $6,500 for both inverters in this case.
And those are 2,500s, 3,000s?
These are the hybrid Magnums, so they're 3,000 watt inverters. The non-hybrid ones are 2,800 watt, but with the hybrid technology, they bump up an extra 200 watts to 3,000. So it can actually use the shore power coming in If it doesn't have enough through that, it can boost it with inverting power as well, up to the 3,000 watts.
Nice, very cool. Thanks for sharing that.
I want to introduce you to another tech here. Great guy, ton of knowledge. He was actually one of the supervisors from the Winnebago side when they all came over here. This is John Emanuel here.
Hey John, how you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. So do you have any advice for someone that's thinking about purchasing an RV?
I would say find people you trust and make sure that the support after the purchase, support before the purchase is there. It can make a big difference on the RV experience. If you trust the people that you're buying from, they're gonna make sure that the whole experience is fluid. They have your back when stuff goes wrong, and just always a good resource. There's tons of people to ask questions, tons of experience here and knowledge. Making sure that you trust the people that you're buying from, I think, is the first step. Another suggestion is if you're buying from an unknown party or somebody that you've met and you want to make sure that that's a good motorhome and everything's ready for your trips, get it to a shop that's well known, that you trust, and have it checked out. We can go through everything, all systems, all chassis, paint, body, can all be done here. So it's always a good idea to make sure it's gone through before you leave on your first trip, because that's going to affect experience also.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Little woodworking going on back here. What's going on here, sir?
I just want to take you into our cabinet shop. Like I said, we are one of the service centers that we do a lot of remodel work. We have one guy that works in our cabinet shop, been in the industry forever. Actually started at Country Coach year to date, one year exactly before I did. So he started in 1988. Chris does all our cabinetry work. Probably one of the best cabinet guys I've ever met in my lifetime. Very fortunate to have him. So this is kind of our cabinet shop. A couple of things we've done is, actually this is kind of cool. We put out a video 6 months ago on a remodel. I kind of showed this double console thing. Since that video, we've probably sold 10 of these things now. You know, so that we have a guy coming to pick this one up. Chris made it, but I mean, his work is just incredible.
Yeah, that was a really cool video you guys did on your channel. I'm going to leave that in the description below. You guys did a YouTube video in-house. Definitely worth checking out your channel.
Well, the difference between our videos and Andrew's videos is Andrew's videos gets viewed. Our videos just kind of sit there.
Hey, I need as many of you as possible to go subscribe to Premier RV of Oregon. We need to get these guys some more subscribers so they make some more videos. So if we can get you 1,000 subscribers, will you guys start making some more videos?
Absolutely.
All right, we need as many subscribers.
Not me, but we'll make some more videos.
All right, that's a deal. We need as many of you as possible to go subscribe to Premier RV of Oregon right now. I'll leave a link to their channel in the description below. But what else is going on in the cabinet shop?
So this right here happens to be a project we're doing. So a lot of people come here, audio, video, TV, stereos, all that kind of stuff. Pretty common, probably an everyday occurrence here. This particular case, the guy he bought an 07 Intrigue from us, had original televisions in it. He's a streamer, so he wanted some new televisions put in, some new amps and home theater stuff. So what we do there is we bought the televisions, which you kind of see laying here on the ground. We took out the old TV buckets, which are here. That's one thing Great Country Coach did. They actually built buckets. So now we can just take those buckets out. We call them a TV bucket. And Chris, our cabinet guy, gets the television and designs a new bucket. So that's what we're working on here. It looks like here he may have one already designed and going, and he does. So I'm gonna just kind of lift this real quick. So he's built this new area here. We fit the television in. This must be going in the bedroom because this particular customer got a hinge, so he can hinge this out and have storage behind his television. That's the only reason we'd ever put a hinge there. But that's what Chris does back here. Is, like I said, I don't have to draw this up for him anymore. He takes this and he makes what he needs to make. These are the old buckets. He'll take these TVs and new buckets. But we have table saws, all the stuff Chris needs to make that face frame table going on over here.
So how do you guys price this kind of custom cabinetry work? This is an art to do stuff like this. How do you bill it?
I come to Chris. Most of this stuff goes through me, especially on the sell side. And Chris, hey, I need to do a new bucket. I look in history what we've kind of done. So in this case, a bucket's, I'll say, typically a new bucket for him to design it and make it. It's always solid wood, whatever the coach may be. In this case, these are cherry, solid cherry. This isn't plywood. This is hardwood. We make them out of true hardwood.
And are you able to match the original cabinets?
So basically, yes. So we use the same stain and everything as Country Coach did. Now in cherry, they get darker over years. So what you have to explain to your customer is that it's going to be light. Give it 6 months and it's going to look like the rest of the cabinets. Because it's just going to over time darken. But in this case, like let's say this new one, so this is a front TV. It's going to get a 43-inch Samsung QLED. With this bucket is probably going to be somewhere right around $900 for the bucket, $600 for the TV install, a couple $1,000, something like that for the new TV in the front. Bedrooms are always a little bit cheaper just because they're a little bit easier. Tie in the wiring, you're probably closer to $1,500 in the bedroom. Most people think that's going to cost a lot of money. It's just TVs are fairly inexpensive nowadays, and fortunately for us, our cabinet maker doesn't need to get rich. I mean, he loves making cabinets, and this is what he does.
Very cool. And are there any custom cabinetry work that you guys are afraid of?
No, I don't think there's anything here we're afraid of. Now, I may turn down putting a 4-slide into a coach nowadays just because of, I don't want to get into that much engineering personally, but no, we pretty much will do anything somebody wants, and I will tell people you don't want to do that. It's not the right thing to do. Now, if they go on and continue that's what they want to do, I'll do. But we'll definitely give recommendations on if somebody's asking for something that we don't recommend.
But if they got the checkbook to get it done, you guys aren't afraid?
I will always accept a check, my friend Andrew, always.
Now, are there any motorhomes that you guys don't want to work on here? I've seen Prevos, Newells, I've seen it all. What do you guys not want to work on here?
You know, any motorhome we want to work on. I'll be up front. I think there's other places you could take your trailer or fifth wheel. It's just something we don't want to work on. I mean, not that we can't, but we'd rather focus on what we know best, which is any brand make of any type of motorhome. I mean, I don't care if it's Class C, Newmar, Tiffin, Integra, it doesn't matter to us. Country, obviously we know Country's really well. Monaco's, Beavers, any of those coaches we feel very comfortable working on. And like I said, that's one thing that makes me proud as an owner here is that 17 techs with 20 plus years of experience. I feel very confident of telling any of my customer base that you're getting some of the best service you can find. I want to introduce you to one more guy here, our service manager, Jim Cooley. You know, I can't say enough about this guy. He actually started at Country Coach when I was still in high school. I thought I'd been in the industry a long time. Jim's been in the industry since 1984. Lou and I feel very fortunate to have him with us. The knowledge he brings, how he treats our customers. I just, like I said, great guy, does a great job for us. Jim Cooley.
Yeah, so Jim, you're very well known in the industry. Is there any advice that you would have for folks out there thinking about purchasing a motorhome?
Well, that's a leading question a little bit, isn't it? So as far as buying a coach, the main thing if you're buying a used coach is really look it over, have somebody look it over that really understands the motorhome. It's very easy for somebody to look at a coach and think that they know what they're looking for when they really don't. It's good to have somebody that has some knowledge do that. You know, there's a lot to look for in a motorhome, especially if it's got a few years on it.
And what about general maintenance? Any advice you have for folks about maintaining Class A motorhomes?
Sure. I mean, everything is in the service. You can tell a coach that's been well cared for just from the outside look of it. Typically, some tend to do a really good job at taking care of their coach, others not so much. You definitely need to always check your seals on the motorhome. Water leaks are not a friend of these coaches. Rust is another thing that can really cause you to have a lot of issues. You know, keep up on your services, your hydro hots, your generator, engine services, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's stuff you guys all do here at Premier RV?
It is, yes.
And you're the guy that someone will see or talk to when they bring their coach in?
Yep, typically they would call us, set up an appointment, of course, and then we bring them in and talk to them and find out what they specifically are looking for and kind of guide them along if need be.
And is there any service work you guys are afraid of here at Premier RV of Oregon?
afraid. No, that's not the right term, probably. Definitely, there are a couple things we don't do. We don't have an alignment rack here, so that's nothing that we really get into. But heavy engine services, we don't really get into the heads and pull them off and just valves and things like that. But for the most part, everything else we can do.
And you do have resources if coaches do need to get that stuff done?
We do. We have sublet shops that we can use in the event if there's something that is outside of our parameters.
Appreciate all you do for the industry, and I'm sure some folks on YouTube will be calling you soon.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Gary, I really appreciate you showing us around and sharing all that information with myself and the folks on YouTube. I also appreciate all of you out there subscribing to the channel and also subscribing over to Premier RV's channel. I'll leave that in the description below. Thanks again. I hope you're all having a great day.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Andrew. Always much appreciated you coming and visiting us. Thanks again.